Guys, so welcome to my new show. You may have heard me on Twitter kind of talk about this a couple of times, but I have something special planned, and this is it. My new show, it's a weekly series that's going to come out usually on the weekends, but with everything that happened today with Marvel, I wanted to do the first episode today and really talk about that. But those of you who are watching the video of this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheRealDavidWebb, you will be noticing that I have a microphone in my face, and that is because this is also a podcast. So you can go on to, definitely right off the bat, it's going to be SoundCloud and it's going to be iTunes. And you can download these podcast episodes and take them wherever you go on your various MP3 players and be able to listen to me all the time, over and over and over and over. So yeah, I've kind of wanted to start a podcast, and those of you who listen to my friends over at the Video Game Bang podcast over on Nerd Reactor have heard me on there a couple of times, and it's just really fun. It's kind of like having your own personal radio show, so I wanted to do it, but I also wanted to stick with my YouTube channel, so I'm doing both. So there's that. This series will basically be covering weekly news for various geek and nerd culture topics, from technology to comic books to movies to TV to video games and everything in between. Just basically running through what happened that week in that culture and what do we have looking forward to in the weeks to come. This episode is going to be slightly skewed towards Marvel just because that's a lot of stuff came out today that I want to talk about, but we will kind of cover other things. So here we go. We're going to start right off with technology, and something interesting I read today was the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. Some of you who are Android users know this has already come out. It's Samsung's, one of flagship cellular devices. That was really hard to say. One of Samsung's flagship cellular devices came out, and what's interesting is the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus pre-orders in South Korea have actually beaten the pre-orders for the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, which South Korea, that's where Samsung is. So it's just kind of interesting that in its home turf it got beat. So as an Apple fan, as an Apple user, I just have to kind of throw it back to Apple for that, because that's actually kind of cool. In other technology news, the federal government, get this, is actually suing AT&T because of them throttling unlimited data users. So I know for me, I used to be a AT&T customer, and I had the unlimited data plan. And then once they started coming out with those more regulated data plans, the 2 gig, the 6 gig, or whatever, I was grandfathered in, and I was still going to have unlimited data, quote unquote, but actually what would happen is after a certain amount of data was used, I would get throttled, so my internet speed would go way down, and it was so annoying because it's basically like being capped, and I was paying for unlimited. So the federal government is actually going after AT&T for doing this, which to me, it's kind of like, duh, why wasn't this done before? It drives me crazy how this whole cellular company industry is just so not regulated. Like, they can just do whatever they want and nobody says anything. Well, now somebody is saying something, and it's actually funny. One of the spokespeople for the FCC actually said it's really simple. Unlimited means unlimited. So if it's unlimited data, then it should be unlimited data, not unlimited data up to a point and then you have a data cap. So I think that's really cool, and I think if anything, I would attribute this probably to T-Mobile. T-Mobile is really kind of shaking things up in the cellular world, and kind of mixing things up with how they do business, and not having contract and buying people out of their contract. And now Sprint's doing that, and now the federal government is going after, one of the biggest companies, AT&T. So I think that's pretty cool. This isn't a T-Mobile commercial. I don't have T-Mobile. I actually have Verizon. But I just, T-Mobile's shaking things up. So I would say that that's kind of how this all started. Moving on, we're going to go to video games. So today, a couple games got released, one of which I'm very excited about, Sunset Overdrive. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. Find some gameplay videos from like E3 or some of the other gaming conferences. and you will see how cool it is. It's kind of like there's just like ridiculous weapons. Like you have a teddy bear with TNT strapped to it that you launch at these critters who have been morphed from ODing on the energy drink. It's such a cool, like, it's such a different storyline, but then the graphics and the whole world that they've created, it's really cool. It's really like, it's colorful, it really pops, and it's just different. It looks like a really fun game. So I'm really excited to play that. Make sure to look on my YouTube channel for gameplay videos, not only of that, but also of Destiny and a couple other games that I really want to start playing. I just got an Xbox One, so I'm really excited about that. The downside is Xbox has actually just released that they are going to be, starting November 2nd, they are going to be dropping the price until the end of the year of all of their Xbox One consoles, so even bundles. So they said a price drop of $50, but essentially if you get the right bundle, then you're going to be paying $300 for an Xbox, a controller, and a game, which is insane because I just bought my Xbox like 2 weeks ago and I paid the full retail price of $500 for the Xbox, the Kinect, the controller, and a game. So those of you who are kind of on the edge of kind of thinking, well, do I want to get one? Do I want to wait until November 2nd and then pick one up then. You can get the Call of Duty bundle, you can get a Sunset Overdrive bundle, and I think there's an Assassin's Creed bundle, and then also just a regular Kinect Xbox controller bundle is going to be less money too. So just wait. Don't do what I did and get it before it gets the price dropped. Also coming out today was the WWE 2K15 for those wrestling fans out there. And then wrapping up video game news, we have a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare coming out on November 4th. Moving into TV, this is just going to be a short segment this time because I'm going to talk more about it when I get to the Marvel news. But the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got its first hero in last week's episode, and it's the Mockingbird. So played by, it's Bobby Morse, who is the Mockingbird. And which is pretty cool because up until this point, we really haven't had an actual hero in the show. It's been kind of like, it's mentioned the Captain America or it's mentioned the Avengers, but there hasn't really been a hero. We've had Agent Hill, I think twice, maybe 3 times in the first season and the first part of the second season. I think total we've seen her like maybe 3 times. So this is it's pretty cool. So it's interesting to see where this goes. See if it's going to lead into more heroes showing up. I kind of doubt that we're going to see like Iron Man or Captain America or any of the Avengers or big heroes in it, but we may see some of the what you would call lesser known heroes join the cast. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now, the big news of today. If you were somehow under a rock with no internet connection and missed the entire internet today, Marvel released some huge news that have all of the comic book and Marvel Universe fans going crazy. They've released their movie schedule from basically now until 2019. So we know that we have the Avengers Age of Ultron coming out next year, right? So in May of 2016, I'm just going to run through the movie list and then we'll go back and we'll talk about it. So in May of 2016, we're going to see Captain America 3 Civil War, which is pretty cool. In November of 2016, Doctor Strange. In May of 2017, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I'm pretty excited about. In July of 2017, we're going to see Thor 3. In November of 2017, we're going to see Black Panther. Avengers Infinity War Part 1 is going to be released in May of 2018. Captain Marvel is going to get her own movie, and it's going to be Carol Danvers is going to be Captain Marvel, and that's going to be in July of 2018. Inhumans is going to be coming out in November of 2018, and wrapping up this huge news release, Avengers Infinity War Part 2 is coming out in May of 2019, and it's believed that that's going to pretty much wrap up the Avengers saga for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So a couple things I want to go back on, I want to touch on. So the president of Marvel Studios, after this big announcement, Kevin Feige, I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Kevin. President Kevin did a Q&A after this, and so, of course, there are lots of questions that people had, as it is with any big news release like this. One of the questions that was asked was talking about Spider-Man, especially in reference to, if we're coming out with a Civil War movie, where does Spider-Man fit into that? If you've read the comic books, the Civil War series that Marvel did, then you know that at that point Spider-Man is an Avenger, and he is kind of in between both sides. So are there talks of Marvel and Sony bringing Spider-Man back into the family, bringing back into Marvel Studios' hands, and being able to really make movies with him in it? That was a big question, and he actually said that President Kevin said that he can't really comment on anything that's not official or that he doesn't know. So it's kind of a roundabout answer. Basically, what we could take away from that is, as of right now, don't expect anything. The same question kind of went for Doctor Strange, and some recent news broke that there are talks with the director of Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange, which I think would be pretty cool because he's such a good actor. And so that was asked, today too, and same basic thing is, if it wasn't announced today, then it's not official or it's just a rumor. So casting hasn't been officially released, so technically we don't know where Benedict, if he is or not. I did read an article saying that it's really depends on his shooting schedule with the season 4 of Sherlock on BBC. So we'll see. That may be coming later. Also, with regards to the Civil War, what is that going to look like? And in the comic book, what we saw is the government wanted to regulate, the heroes and their secret identity. So basically just register them all together. And so they know who's who and who's doing what and who's reporting to who. In the cinematic universe of the Civil War, all we're going to see is the governments of the world are going to come together, and they're going to want to have regulation. They're going to want to know who is reporting to who. So when he specified that this is a Marvel Studios Cinematic Universe Civil War, to me, it could be very well that he's just stating that it's not going to be exactly the same as a comic book. But I kind of think that we can also read into it a little bit as kind of a fail-safe in case they can't get Spider-Man or they can't do something exactly right or exactly the same way as the comic, that, well, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe Civil War. It's not exactly the same. So, like, Spider-Man may not be in it, and it kind of sounds like they're planning on that because actually Black Panther is going to be in it, and sounds like he's going to be taking the role that Spider-Man did of kind of being the in-between person between Captain America and Iron Man, kind of being the mediator and kind of flip-flopping back and forth on which side he's actually on. So, is it something more? Is it just a statement? Time will tell. As for the Inhumans movie, President Kevin did say to keep an eye out because we're going to be seeing more information about that a lot sooner than we think. So, to me, I mean, he said start looking for Easter eggs. So, I kind of think that especially with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going, it's possible that we can see some Easter eggs even in that. I read a rumor going around online that there was an actual reference to the Inhumans in last week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where Coulson, spoiler, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, Coulson tells Skye that she may not be human, she may be alien, and it's in reference to her not reacting to the drug the same way that Coulson did, and Coulson drawing, making all those sketches and carvings and stuff. Skye's not doing that, and she took the drug too. Well, if we look back at season 1, then we know that the drug came from the Kree, right? So the Kree created the Inhumans. So if the drug came from the Kree and was put into Skye, if she's an Inhuman, then it wouldn't affect her the same way because she already has Kree DNA in her. So she wouldn't be affected by it. That is just a rumor. I mean, to me, it makes total sense. Also, if you throw in the fact of where, Skye's backstory of the Hunan province and the village, if you look at the story of the Inhumans, and in that area is where one of their homes were, one of their bases, villages, houses, whatever you want to call it. It's where they were. That kind of throws a hint into it too. Is Skye an Inhuman? Is that where, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. setting us up for that addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Again, time will tell. I'm really excited about all this news coming out. This is going to be a really fun next next 5 years, really. 2014 right now, and we're already looking at 2019. This is going to be pretty fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, whether you're listening to the podcast or you're watching on video, or if you want to leave me love in both, go for it. And make sure to subscribe both the podcast and my YouTube channel for more of these videos. Like I said, it's going to be weekly. Typically it's going to be on the weekend, but I was just too excited to wait until the weekend to do this. So we're shooting it now. Again, let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, if I messed anything up. One thing that you're going to learn about me is that the way I describe myself is I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, and I know a lot about a little bit. So if you don't know what that means, then you'll figure it out. But I may have gotten some facts wrong, some backstories wrong. But if that's the case, then feel free to fact check me, and I will make a correction next time. Other than that, let me know what you think about the show. Do you have any subjects that you want to see covered? And we can definitely talk about it next time. So thanks for watching, and those of you listening, thanks for listening. And I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.